You're on.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining me today in the preview of Business Mastery Integration Round 2. Appreciate having you all on board today. We had a very successful Round 1. We're up over 500 business mastery professionals in our group, and we took some time to survey everybody, and just going to throw it over to Lynn real quick. Lynn, with regard to the surveys, any things that we can expect for changes for Round 2 that we didn't see in Round 1?
Yes, we're going to get a new call-in service so that people can actually get in now without hopefully getting the busy signals. Some people out of the country were not able to call in at all with the freeconferencecalling.com service. So all of that is changing. We're tweaking just a few things right now so that we have it ready to go for tonight. So I think that's going to be a significant change. Go ahead.
And a really good hint, if the call's at 9, be on the call by 9, not trying to get in when everybody else is trying to get in.
Right, and that was some of the comments too, is like we were always starting late. So if people have a tight timeline for Monday night, which is pretty late anyway when we start at 9, they were hopeful that we would start more on time versus 10 or 15 after.
Cool. All right. And with regards to the different forces, were there any forces from the survey that stood out as being the most important?
Well, the most important and the ones I think are challenging for most of the people were the mapping and the marketing. So I think that we will be spending some extra time on those calls. One of the suggestions that we had also was to post questions every week to keep people actively involved on a daily basis. So I think we're going to do that as well this time around.
So us posting questions now instead of audience.
Yeah, to trigger them in actually implementing the 7 forces or whichever force we're on for the week. So it basically is going back to the workbook as far as I can see and putting some of the questions that are in there on the actual page so that people will stay on top of it.
Outstanding, outstanding. We're so blessed to have Stephen Tuhig on the call. He literally wrote the book on mapping, so next week we'll go deep into that. I know he made it very clear. If your map is off, your whole plan's off.
Right. And a lot of people, I think, were stopping after the mapping force because they couldn't figure out if their plan was right or not. So that's probably why doing the questions every day or something to prompt people to keep working at it will be a major benefit for everybody.
Yeah, I heard a lot about that where people would just get stuck and it would immobilize them. So we'll be plowing them forward.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And we do have some superstar S's on the call with us today. We have Sarah, Shannon, and Susan. And let's see, Sarah, let's go to you first.
All right. Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the call. Thank you for being such an integral part of our Business Mastery integration calls.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate all the calls.
So tell us, what do you appreciate the most?
You know, when I signed up for Business Mastery, I basically had no business education other than just my own experience. So by the end of that week-long, or what I think a five-day event, I was just like, my mind was spinning, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do now, you know? So it was such a blessing to have found this group. I don't even know how I found it. And to actually get me back into the workbook and like figure out what it all means. And now because of that group, I've created this Triforce. You know, I'm on my own team. So me and these other 3 solo people, these other 2 people are working together. Like we had a call this morning where we did our Force 1. So even though we're all solo, we're all working together on it as if we were a team.
That's awesome.
And these calls have been, you know, that accountability and just really giving me a better understanding so that I can implement it into my life.
I love it. That is so powerful to have that power, that mastermind over there. When you run an organization, you have the organization, but when you're all collaborating together, that's the power of a mastermind. Thank you so much for being a part of our calls. We appreciate it.
And the activity on the group page, we really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, you're being such an impact to other people's lives. You too, Shannon. We really appreciate the input that you're doing. Thanks for being on this preview call today.
My pleasure.
What is it that you appreciate about the Business Mastery integration calls?
As a long-term solo worker, I have found my peers, and I knew something was missing when I walked in the door at Business Mastery a year and a half ago, and I realized it was people. My businesses, the ones I have with my husband, others, they're very solo operated, and the industries that we were in didn't bode to a lot of good socializing or good peer communication and that help that I have found from these calls. It's just phenomenal for me to look forward to the accountability every week, even though, through illness, through all those things that can hold you back. I knew that call was going to be there waiting for me if I didn't make it. I knew I could be on it and just listen if I didn't feel well. And it just kept pushing me to get healthy, get better, and really get into launch mode, which is where I'm at now. And that, I don't think I would have gotten where I am today without my peer business mastery group. And this iteration that we're headed into, the second iteration of the 7 forces, I find it really exciting after going through them for a year and maybe not necessarily applying all of them, maybe getting a little lost in the mapping, a couple things. And that first 7 weeks was so powerful because I could hear other folks struggling with the same things I was. And it just reminds me that I'm not alone. And that as a solo worker, as an entrepreneur who has just done way too much, it's very hard to find peers that understand how crazy your life can be and how overwhelming you can let your business get you to, and that you're the only one that can pull it back. And by the help of your peers and with the help of going back to the, like Sarah said, going back to the book and really having to read it and study it and not just be in a room full of everyone and going through those 5 days, but taking that time and reading it again and starting to see new things every time you sit down to write. And I'm just really excited to get into this second force where I'm very active in following the steps and applying them in my business, my new one. I'm ready to be there. And I'm just so excited and grateful for that. And while I'm strong, I wouldn't have made it without this group where I am today.
That is awesome. And the second time you get around, it's not just the second time. You have all the acceleration momentum from the first time. And I'm a huge fan of the way Tony does full immersion. To go from full immersion to integration takes the efforts. And he gave us the formula, 7 forces, 1 each week. Bam, bam, bam. And when you're done, regroup and do it again. Regroup and do it again. And you get further and further each time. And
every week.
I want to bring on my associate here from New Jersey, Miss Susan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate everyone. I've been in business for a long time. I've ran several businesses off and on, and I maintain other different jobs at the same time. It's a lot of juggling. So I know that I'm strong-willed, and intelligent, but it's always nice to have someone else to pat you on the back, lead you through. And you know what? People make mistakes, and they grow, and they have success, and we learn from all of them. And when people bring that, when others bring that to this call, you just say to yourself, yes, I did that, or I can do that, I will do that. It just reiterates Tony's information on everything that we've learned. And again, without being there for 5 days, it just saves time and effort. You can step ahead and get it done. I'm truly enthralled. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you so much. If there's anybody who's listening to the video, right here, we want to remind them that our calls are at 9 p.m. Eastern. You go through our Facebook group. We don't put the numbers out in the public, so you have to be accepted into the group to join in the call. And I look forward to speaking to all of you tonight on the call. And Lynn, anything else before we wrap this up?
Well, again, a special shout out to Stephen and a lot of gratitude to him. He's the genius that's making it work with the content specifically. This time around, I get to be a student and I'm loving it. So as I'm starting new businesses, I too am getting all the benefit that everybody else is. So very grateful for that. Very grateful for Adam for stepping up and emceeing the calls and keeping us on track as well. So the three of us doing this together has been such a blessing in my life, and I am truly grateful for all of that and for all of you guys who are participating so actively and fully, especially the three ladies here on the call who keep the page going and lots of comments and questions. I love that part.
So thank you all so much. We're going to wrap it up and send my appreciation your way. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for joining us every week. And we'll talk to everybody 9 o'clock Monday nights Eastern Time, Business Mastery Integration. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See you tonight. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Talk to you soon.